So, that goes back again to what you were talking about too. Like, if you're seeking yourself, at the end of the day, that feeling of wanting to be free, like that's natural type deal. Nobody want to get locked up in a cage. You know what I'm saying? Huh? That's real serious.
So
That's
the
real
thing
serious.
is,
It's the
is
same thing you're connecting to. That will, if you showing love to another person or whatever, like in a natural way, that's that same thing of feeling like you don't want to be caged down. So I'm gonna lie to you and say, oh, I don't know who that is. You know?
so the whole thing is Queso being real to himself, or is he being real to ATK,
Hmm.
or is he being real to what society is telling him to do and say? Which one is it? And
Hmm.
does he even know?
Hmm. It's probably not. It's probably situational. It's like whenever you feel like one is gonna serve you more than the other. So.
All right, we're back. Boom! We in the gym. Welcome to EJ's Gym, a guide to elevate your mindset. And you know what? I got my man, little bro. Little bro is a frequent guest on the show. So the little bro, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to EJ's Gym. You know what I'm saying? We in here, we about to talk, about to chat it up, trying to learn, trying to make sure we grow. You know what I'm saying? Expand that mindset. How y'all doing?
Yeah, man. And you never know. One day we might remix this, and change the name a little bit, get little bro, get his input, you know what I mean? And we, can remix this and have a
Hmm.
frequent thing going on. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not gonna lie to you, So we, hopefully we can go ahead and make it happen. And I'm looking for, definitely looking for some engagement in these conversations right here. So, go ahead and hit the like button right there. I'm learning how to do that. That's called housekeeping. I think that's what they call it, housekeeping. Hit the
Housekeeping.
like button,
Okay.
subscribe, and share, and all that other good stuff. You know what I mean? Go ahead, rock with your boy, rock with little bro. You know what I mean? We
Yes,
over here.
sir.
Man, rest in peace, young guy. Young guy has some talent. Young guy has some good energy. Maybe he directed towards the wrong thing, but
I don't know
it's
about
no
that
doubt.
last line.
It's no, huh?
I said I don't know about that last line.
Yeah, I'm not talking about this song. I'm just
Yeah.
talking about the fact of being able to he figured out how to make his sound where people would like it.
People want to
Meaning
listen to it,
people want to
right?
listen to it, like regardless of what the content is. Meaning so he has something in him that he just kind of directed the energy the wrong way. My perspective. Like I said, it's just my perspective.
Hmm.
Go ahead, you can jump out of your screen sharing. I'm gonna screen share something. Um, I don't want to screen share this. Right. So we talked about this here,
Mm.
right? The whole Bibby situation, right?
Right.
And I'm
That's the
gonna
third outside of this album cover. That's like the third baby reference I done seen across their stuff too. Burning the Jersey. That's a pretty good one.
right. That's crazy. And the kid's dead. He's dead.
Right. Right.
That's like three songs we said, like three different
Right.
mentions and stuff like
They
that. I'm pretty sure
either
they have more.
either they're getting so much publicity from that one case that it's like, oh, let's keep feeding this, or they just like really did not like bro, really had problems with bro. I don't know. I feel like it's the first one more likely, the former more likely. Like they see that it's getting buzzed with the baby stuff. My goodness, man got the jersey on him.
And the name of the thing is Violent Child, right?
Right.
So what does this mean? What is Queso trying to say?
Violent child. What does that say?
And
I
has
think
on a
that's
baby
the
shirt.
yeah.
He has a
That's the
violent
thing.
child on, and
No
he's going through a
hospital
case.
gang.
He's going through a case right now. So I just
Hmm.
will hope these guys understand what they have going on with themselves, right?
Absolutely.
So is he incriminating himself? Is the question I'm asking you.
I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not no expert in the legal system, but
Mm-hmm.
like it takes a certain kind of you gotta be involved in something to say, oh, you fell in love with killing type shit like that. You get what I'm saying? Like that's not something that you hear every day. I don't know. The rap ultimately, rap is about like entertainment and a show, right? But also too, there's a level, like the way some of these guys carry themselves, like it's almost like the entertainment part doesn't matter, like the entertainment is just that's just an extra perk,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like where does this come from for real?
Right. So just like what you said, man, and it's plenty of stuff that I can put up there where Ksoo is talking about running down and shooting people and stuff like that. And in this one situation, that kid Bibby, it just so happened in that case, he was chased. Somebody chased him and
Okay.
shot him, and they stood over him and shot him some more.
And right, okay, I think I know which case this is. It was two people at this time, right?
I think they got killed
But
both the same way. But
okay.
Go ahead, from what you know.
Nah, I was saying, I think from that case, one of the dudes ended up getting away or something like that. But yeah, the Bibby guy you talking about, right? He, like stood over him and shot him again or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And so, what I'll do, and I'll add that part so we don't have to mess with the video. I'll just kind of pause this part and add that part. But it was a part where, like, where you talked about like this whole glorifying the death of this kid Bibby or whatever the case maybe, and pretty much other people that I'm pretty sure they're doing that, are saying they're little ops or raps and dead ops, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But now Ksoo gets, because of he did a lot of, not him, I don't know. Let's just say what the case is.
Everybody is innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty, right? But I think because of some evidence and because of it was done in broad daylight. Scotty's in jail, and Ksoo is as well, right?
Right.
And in one of the cases, like I mentioned to you, the police officer, these guys are talking about Bibby and this, that, step on something. We just saw the thing with the Jay Youngin and the burning the jersey and the picture with the violent child and everything else, right?
Right.
And I'll show the part of interrogation and stuff like that. It's something called Crime Circus. Shout out to Crime Circus. I love those videos. Some pretty cool videos. While in that interrogation room, the police officer pulls up a picture of the Bibby kid.
Our investigation that we're conducting.
What is this, sir?
Let me show you some pictures of what we're talking about. You know what that is?
No, sir.
You don't know what that is? Bibby ring a bell to you?
I want to speak with my lawyer.
You want to speak with your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be a bit. We're going to be out there doing some paperwork. You do have a warrant for your arrest.
We have a warrant for your arrest for murder today.
What?
Yes.
For?
You want your lawyer, so I can't tell you no more, but you'll be in trouble.
What the hell?
And he slides the picture over to Ksoo, and he asks Ksoo, "Do you know who this is?"
Do you know who this is?
And Ksoo said, "No."
Right.
Wait 1 minute. Just like I asked you yesterday, and we'll get closer to wrapping this part up, right?
Right.
If these guys are getting famous off of these murders and everything that they, quote unquote, their gang is committing, regardless of who they're claiming it, because they're saying it, right? Who I smoke, that means I smoke Bibby, just like he said in the song. The video, the violent child.
Right.
So why when the officer gave him the thing, like, yeah, that's who we smoke. I'm smoking on Bibby. You want to smoke it too? Why didn't he say that? Why didn't he own up to it? They got so famous off of it. Why not own it then when you're sitting in front of the officer?
When it's real, when it becomes, I mean, it's real the whole time, but then it's the consequences, I guess. You know what I'm saying? You're not thinking about the consequences, because that's wild. It's right in front of you. You know how they say, like, I've heard something about, like, how you change your name in like they change your name in a gang, like they change the language and stuff like that, and like how that could change the way, once you change the way people speak and the way that they associate terms, like you change the way they think about stuff. You get what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you could use something like smoke for somebody. Now obviously in their situation, that boy said he fell in love with killing. That's different. You know what I'm saying? That's putting it out in the open. But like the language around it changed the way you think about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then the thing is, he's manifesting that at the same time. You know what I mean? So
right.
Yeah, he's saying it, and then you repeat it. Remember what I said? The world is your mirror. So it's that cycle. You put it out, then you get it back. You put it out, then you get it back, and you put it out, and you get it back. And you got to think about the energy that they're putting out. You know what I'm saying? Just like we said, Rick J, I say he was a very talented guy. From the snippet of information I've had of some of his work, I'm not going to go look at and listen to all of his music. You know what I mean? But the stuff that I've seen, the visuals and stuff like that. Now, like I said, I don't do the gun things, but these guys had an eye for catching people's attention, right? Maybe the gun thing was part of it. You know what I mean? Sure. But the energy that you're putting out, you're talking about people that are brutally murdered.
You know, and on the real tip too, like so I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. I don't know if your audience knows that. Like, I was in the Marine Corps, and so, you know, being over, like, a lot of veterans or whatever, people associate, like, there's a problem sometimes with some veterans that come back from wars, and they'll have like what's called PTSD and stuff like that. And these guys, like, it's funny because these guys are like glorifying this stuff, and in reality they're probably having to deal with, like, seeing stuff like that over and over again and stuff, and like it's a serious issue that people have to deal with. It's funny how you could come from it at, like, in a situation like that, like, it's not real, but then when you're in an interrogation room or something like that and the reality of the situation comes out, it's a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy to see, like, people glorifying stuff like that in reality, when it's also people that kind of have to do it because of their job, and you don't lose that. You know what I'm saying? That stays with you for the rest of your life, type deal. You know?
Right. Yeah, man. I don't understand. Like, if you're gonna, like what I said to you the other day, if you're gonna be it through and through. Meaning, not saying that like I condone that type of behavior, because I don't. That's why we're talking about it.
Right.
But at the same time, like, if you're gonna be bold enough to get on camera to burn, we know the thing is the symbolism, like symbolizing thing. We know
symbolism,
what that symbolism. We know what the symbolism behind burning his jersey. We know the symbolism behind saying you smoked on the guy. We know, I mean, we know what it means.
Right.
So if you're owning it in that fashion and making money off of it, and you know, when you're making these videos and these tracks and stuff like that, like, my question is, why not be that same person sitting at that table with that officer? Then you're that character through and through. Then there's nothing we can say. We're like, okay, Ksoo is just hardcore. He's crazy. He doesn't give a you know what through and through.
Right.
Obviously, he gives a. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because if he did, if he really didn't, he'll be like, "No, I'm smoking on Bibby." He wants to be free.
So, that goes back again to what you were talking about too. Like, if you're seeking yourself, at the end of the day, that feeling of wanting to be free, like, that's natural type deal. Nobody want to get locked up in a cage. You know what I'm saying? That's real serious.
So the thing is
the same thing you're connecting to. that will, you know, if you showing love to another person or whatever, like in a natural way, that's that same thing of feeling like you don't want to be caged down, so I'm gonna lie to you and say, oh, I don't know who that is, you know.
So the whole thing is Ksoo being real to himself, or is he being real to ATK, or is he being real to what society is telling him to do and say? Which one is it? And does he even know?
It's probably not. It's probably situational. You know, it's like whenever you feel like one is gonna serve you more than the other.
And I think that's the space of where it's challenging for kids in certain environments. And I'm not blaming the environment, because the environment is what it is. You still have choices within that environment. It's no way you're telling me that every single person that comes from Duval, that's from that space of wherever the ATK and the KTA guys.
Because these are extremes. This is not how everybody is living over there. Exactly. These are extreme cases.
Very, 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 very extreme. Where you have pockets of people living a certain way, and then you got pockets of other people living a completely different way. It's like that parallel universe type deal,
right?
You know, and you choose your fate. And I truly know that's what happens in life. And we had the conversation for me and my cousins and how I grew up in my family and stuff like that. And I truly know from looking back at my life that you truly have a choice. Somewhere, somehow in your life will give you an out. It'll give you an opportunity to get away from whatever situation that is, that you were, the environment that you grew up in. Life will give you a way out of it.
The same struggle and pain that a lot of these young rapper guys talk about too in some of their music. At the end of the day, that's what they say fuels like all this killing and all this rage that they got in them. Nah, for sure.
Yeah, but you got other people, other pockets of people who grew up right next to them who are not like that.
Right.
So that means it's a choice. You're choosing to kind of, in a sense, be a certain way. But the whole thing is why? Why are you choosing to go that route? Why are you choosing to fall in love with killing? Because in order to fall in love with killing, you have to see somebody get killed.
Even if it's not you, like it has to have some sort of like you get some sort of emotion out of it.
Meaning, like, maybe you seen somebody do it, or you were around and witnessed one, and you was like, okay, shoot, I want to do that too. Meaning, like, it became something that was a fad or popular around you, and you saw people doing that, and you fell in love with it. Because at the same time, me and you, we can both watch a film on TV and watch people get murdered and be like, nah, man, I fell in love with murder. I want to go out there and murder. No, you're detached. You're not going to connect with
exactly.
That. It's just a movie.
It's a screen, right?
But the moment you're in a situation and you can connect with the experience, meaning you've been around the experience, or maybe you've experienced the experience, just like you said, maybe you were the one murdering somebody. Because, you know, you maybe, I don't know, maybe he got a rush from it. I don't know, man. That's just kind of like, the thing is, I don't want to call the behavior weird. That's like not the right word to use it, but that's unusual behavior. That's an unusual behavior to fall in love with. It's a different type of person that falls in love with something like that, something as cruel as that, because I think at a certain point, even though they're still in that group think phase, because when it happens to you, like meaning to somebody close to you, you know what it feels like.
Right. No, absolutely. There was a case I looked up before. I guess they were, it was himself. I'm talking about Ksoo, and then I don't think he was there when it happened, but I know like his father or something like that. I believe like his half brother had died. Like there was an incident after a show or something, and then the car got shot up and everything. So yeah, it's not like that trauma is not all around them. You know what I'm saying? Like you felt that before, to lose somebody, to shoot, especially to somebody getting shot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where
Right.
how do you get to the point though where you feel like the only way is to like get back at them the same way, you know?
It's I think it's that situation of the group think, it's that situation of the environment, it's that situation of kind of putting yourself in a position where you only have one answer, where
Mm.
that's not actually reality.
There's never just one
It's
answer.
never just one
Right.
answer, bro. Never just one
That's
answer.
that's the basis of like all of it, I feel like, because even, and if I'm being honest, like personally, as somebody who's in that age group, that like 25, you know what I'm saying, sometimes it's easy to kind of get caught up in thinking like, well, this is the way that things are, so the way I have to do this is either A or B, but it's never really a A or B option. Even on tests you get 4 options, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah, you definitely always you definitely always have a choice. You have multiple options. You know, now you may narrow down your options because of your environment, or you may not be aware of the other options that you have. But the whole thing in life is the whole discernment and in understanding yourself, and like I told you before, and learning how to tap in self. And we had a quick discussion. We're just using this situation to kind of paint a picture of understanding how to be aware in life. And with Queso, I gave you the scenario of, is he being loyal to himself? Is he being loyal to ATK, or is he being loyal to what society is telling him? And we all go through that, especially the kids when they're in the young space of going through that, figuring out like, okay, who should I be loyal to? And I think you should always be loyal to self, because if you're loyal to self, self does not, just like you said, self does not want to put self in the cage, right? Meaning where you have restrictions, where you can't do anything. So before you go ahead and commit that crime, self will probably tell yourself like, that's not a good thing to do. So from there then on, like if self is telling, if you're telling yourself, or you're listening to yourself and it's telling you not to do that, after a while it's going to tell you not to hang around those people, because they're the ones that's influencing you to do
right,
that. So if you're not tapping in, and you're tapping in, you're constantly tapping into all these other resources outside of yourself, meaning the
right,
gang, the
okay,
environment,
right,
society. You don't know what self is telling you.
right.
That voice, because we all have, you get your that subconscious, that voice inside of you that's telling you, your conscious, whether it's good or bad, is telling you,
Right.
it's telling you something, right?
It's telling
And
you
it's giving
something.
you those multiple options. But this is my perspective, and this is the psychology behind, the way that I think. What happens to people like Queso, or kids like him, or me being in that environment, working with kids like that, never that extreme though, I haven't worked with kids like him, is the volume of whatever the gang is saying is turned up so loud in their head that they no longer have an inner voice. And it's whoever's controlling that gang and telling the gang like, this is cool, this is what to do, on top of because they're gaining fame and notoriety of what
Right.
society's telling them. So it's a combination. He's getting it from both ways. It's like, okay,
Because society is affirming you because you're gaining this notoriety and fame and people are seeing you. Okay, okay, right. So you don't really have no other option but to think that what you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing.
until they lock your ass up and you ain't got no choice.
Okay.
So once now once you get locked up, all those other voices turn down because they're not there anymore.
Because they're not there. And see, so it brings it, so I wanted to bring it back in to kind of close all around to like culture, because at the end of the day we're talking about the music, and the music is such a part of the culture that like we cling to, whatever. And I was watching one of the another interrogation, and it was the guy Scott. We had talked a little bit about him before, but he's one of the associates, I believe, with the ATK guys.
Yeah.
Something I realized is just like you said, like the once you're by yourself, those voices get turned down, you know, and when you're with your friends and when you're with your group, that culture is what brings everybody together, whether it is the music, the things that you do together. And so you see him at some point, everyone leaves, and like the first thing he goes to is like you start reciting your raps, whatever you're playing in your head, you know what I'm saying? So if you're in this world that's always filled, you get what I'm saying, you might not even know because you have to filter through, like the
Yes.
lyrics is like the first thing that come to your mind, you know what I'm saying? The lyrics is the thing that you identify with, and if the lyrics is murder, murder, kill, kill, and that's the way that you do it. But when you don't have that option, then what else? And really, how long does it take for you to kind of get past all the other stuff, the social, the society,
Programming.
the
It's the
culture, the
programming.
music?
Hmm.
Exactly. Because that I realized that I was like, wow, because you know you can see yourself in a situation like, say you're bored or something like that, or you're waiting at the DMV, you get a little impatient, you know what I'm saying? You might start reciting some your favorite song or something like that. I see people do it, like, oh, you're jamming kind of to yourself because there's nothing else to stimulate you. You got to create your own, you got
Ah,
to create your own stimulus, you know?
yes, yes, yes. And just to kind of flip it back, and I know we're gonna work with this timer here, is being okay with being in a space of what people call boredom. And because we live in a society where you always have to be stimulated, we forget that it's okay just to sit. So I'm not bored if I just go outside of my backyard and I'm out there looking at the trees. I'm good. I'm getting that wind. I'm getting the sun. I'm chilling.
Hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. When I go to the beach, I just sit, let the waves run. That's not boring to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, we
Right.
have to realize what we're tapping into. And when we're tapping into real life, or when we're tapping into a made up life that somebody has given us. And I've had this conversation with you before, or I've had this conversation with my YouTube screen, screaming at my screen that this is a life that has been given to you, bro.
Right.
And you're running around playing a role and you don't even know who you are.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it becomes, that life imitating art. Because we were in a position,
Uh,
yeah. We were in a position where art was imitating life, where meaning that painter is sitting down there they're watching their position. I mean, they're watching what's going on in their environment, they're drawing that still picture, right?
right.
So that's art imitating life. We flipped that now because those guys who's making the music we talked about when I was younger and what was going on in the subliminal messages in the music, now it's just full blown. I'm right in your face with the drill music. And
Right.
regardless of if these guys were making things up, it's no longer that. Is now is life imitating art. So now, since rap music has gotten a thing of being negative, talking about murder and
Right.
killing, now you have these characters, the young thugs, the Ksoos, the Scotty, whatever. I don't even think he's a rapper. We just
Right.
using him as an example.
We just so happen to.
It's another guy from Atlanta. I forget his name. His music is actually pretty good. Lucci, Wyatt Lucci, and all these
Okay.
guys
Right.
are in the game now, actually living like these characters, man. And I call it GTA characters, man. I never really got into that game like that. I always thought it was a funny game. But that's what these guys are living, bro.
Nah, for sure. I definitely have played that game a lot. You get to do some wild stuff in that game, for sure.
And this is what I'm talking about. You have to tap into self and realize when you're living in a role of what somebody has given to you, or if you're really following your heart and the gifts that you have. Because not knocking those guys, but they're young. A lot of those guys are young,
Hmm.
and that's when you look for, I guess, that guidance. You know what I mean? And that's why a lot of those guys are in the game and stuff like that. But this is what I'm gonna do is about to wrap up under a minute.
Hmm.
Anything that you want to say while we close out, and we can carry this conversation on again and kind of continue it on moving forward.
I just think, you know, we talking about art a lot or whatever, and I think is a respect that you have to have for something to call it like art, you know, and I think if we talk about art reflecting life rather than life reflecting art, you know, like I like to capture the good things. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about your mindset and stuff like that, and being able to manifest like positivity into your environment. You know, you want to pay attention to the positive things. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really all I want to say. It's
Mm-hmm.
about to cut us off, it's looking like, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to go too long for the recording.
Yeah. So what I want to say before it ends off is, remember, life is a spectrum. So whether you want to measure something in a good space or in a negative space, it's what it is. You're gonna see people die. You're gonna see people live. That's the whole spectrum of life. So art is art, in my perspective. Now you can take it and say that's negative. You can take it and say that's positive. That's a choice. You know, we can choose that. But like I said, we're gonna continue this out. I'm gonna do my little outro because like I said, we all go through that roller coaster of life.